One of my dearest friends has just arrived from Mississippi. This is Sandy Dietrich. And she helped to start and conduct the program at Mississippi. You may not know this, but Bobby Kennedy toured through the South. And when he did, he was touring, he asked his companions, why do these black children have orange hair? He had never seen it before. And they said, because they don't have enough protein in their diet. It's called kwashiorkor. Well, what can we do about it? And I don't know why, but whoever was there said, well, they need midwives down here. And so he went back and ordered a $1 million donation to the University of Mississippi to establish a nurse midwifery program and a consultation service. This was in the early years of what the HSAs were, the health systems agencies. But we all know they never really developed that health system that he was hoping for. But they tried. And I had been hired to go down and be a consultant to the health systems people who were trying to do the superstructure there. And part of it was they started the nurse midwifery program, and there was supposed to be a concerted effort to recruit the black nurses into the program so that they could take care of the children and the mothers and the families that were suffering from poor nutrition. And it was starting from birth. And you can correct me if I get any of this wrong, won't you?
No, I'm learning things
Is it
myself.
okay? You're learning? Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so I went down and I did workshops for the physicians who, I think they were getting paid to come to the workshop and learn about nurse midwives. And there was a midwife, a physician, but they were kind of blasé for pretty much as a group, but there was one that stood out, and his name was
Henry B.
something Gates from Atlanta, Georgia. And he was all excited about this. He had a huge practice in Atlanta, and his son was just joining him in practice. He wanted to be an obstetrician too, and he realized the practice was even going to grow more, because he was a very kindly, sensitive man. And in the process, after we got all through, and he took a whole big legal pad full of notes about everything, and then he raised his hand and he said, okay, I got it now. And he said, how do I introduce the nurse midwife to the community? That's very perceptive to even think of that. And I said, well, this was all stuff I had never done before either, so we were flying blind. I said, well, how do you introduce a new doctor into your practice? And he said, oh, well, we rent the country club and we have a big dinner and we invite all the people in town that make decisions and you know, the bankers and the lawyers and the hospital administrators and all the other people are going to come in contact, and the donors to the hospital and so on. And I said, well, then you do the same thing for the midwives.
Yeah.
And he kind of looked at me and he said, right. Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense. And I said, if you don't, you are making the statement that we're sorry we don't have more doctors, but we were able to get some midwives. So you are introducing them as lesser than. And what you want to do is introduce them as we are finally recognizing that we need a team approach to care. And that as obstetricians, we really can't take total care of you very well at all. So we're hiring some nurse midwives. First of all, they're nurses. And you know that the reason when you go to the hospital, the doctor does the surgery, but the reason you get well is because of the nurse. So there's all that expertise. And then they are highly trained midwives, and they're trained at Yale and Columbia and Johns Hopkins, and he listed all the big important universities. And he had the big party. And he had his practice was already successful.